Welcome to Real Life Johnson with the Commissioner and Dr. T.
Hey, welcome. She go laughing already. We even started. How y'all doing, real life?
Oh, goodness.
Y'all doing all right? It's good to be in the house.
It is indeed good to
and be a part of a fantastic podcast that's making phenomenal changes for the people who are impacted. And just glad to be on this journey with Dr. T, one of the best wives in the world. You just keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. And we're now in the second quarter, Dr. T. This is the second quarter, and everything's still speeding up. It's still going fast. It keep moving and moving, and we just always like to do a check-in, and what we're gonna call this is mentals, messing with your mentals, and mentals is that slang word I've been hearing people use, just mental health. Focus on your mental health. What are some of the things that you see, you speak, and you hear that can impact your mental health in ways that are very profound, but also some of the keys and things you need to look at for you to have a healthy, I think, mental health as you go forward. So this is April, and a lot been going on. We got through, this is our 4th month, but it's all about, what we started with, life be lifing. On how do we connect the dots. And it's always good for us to do a calibration of sorts around our mental health. And I'll just start it off as it's something I'm going to call it the 3 V's. I want us to look at them very, very carefully on how we focus around the mental health. How do we look at our outcomes? One is, I would say, the first V will be validation. Validation. I remember in first grade, my first grade teacher was Miss Gabriel. But on Fridays, everybody looked for the Friday. Friday was the last day of the school week, but we always had the special treats on Friday. One of the special treats was each student was assigned to bring cookies. Now, I'm on food stamps. We couldn't afford the best cookies, but with one classmate who always would bring the best cookies. And we look forward to this classmate to bring the best cookies, because them bringing the best cookies, everybody loved them. The teacher loved them. And we got more than just those penny cookies. We got them 2 for 5 cent cookies. I mean, them big cookies. And you ate, and we played bingo, and part of bingo, we got a little construction paper and popcorn, but we loved that cookie. And so part of it was validation for that person bringing those cookies. They were the best person in the class. We always had good things to say about that student. And we just look forward to those cookies. That was validation. And when I look at validation, and we still look at it to this day, we look for people to validate us in so many ways, in terms of what type of car we drive, what type of house we live in, what type of job that we have. Validation is so rampant, and it impacts your mental health. But what is really truly validation, Dr. T?
That is a good question.
What is validation?
And how do you get to the point where you're looking for it in somebody else? Because because that is good. Because I thought about, I was like, oh, what kind of situation did we have coming up like that? But listen, that's an awareness of being small. But I'm thinking now, like where I am now, it is like, am I looking for validation, and from whom? And why? And
if you don't get it, how does it impacts your mental health? It
does impact your mental health. But I want to get to your other V, because validation is so important. But it's almost like something frames, at least in the United States, frames what we seek in terms of validation. Because when you're in first grade, it was the what you call the reward from bringing the best cookies.
That's right.
And you look forward to bringing the best cookies because the attention. It says you did something very well, and you get it for that day, even if you didn't have any other day where you can get it. So that was kind of emotional reward for bring this action.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
That's
and so it probably leads us into messing with your mentals, because where this definition, we probably can't even make a societal definition. What is validation?
Right.
Because before I jump ahead, I was in the store, and there's a particular store we know don't go on the weekends. Now, we generally avoid it on the weekends unless we just got time and we're not gonna be able to fit it in any other time.
Right.
So Saturday we had to go to the store because we couldn't go to this store on Sunday. But we know we have to brace ourselves. It's gonna be crowded.
Yeah.
People are gonna be a little bit short.
Yeah.
You just have to be patient and navigate to get what you need in this particular store. So I had a list. I had about 15 things on my list. I sent the commissioner to get the few things he needed to get from the meat section, right? And I was going through the vegetables and the condiments and the things, because I knew I had the meal prep this week so I could stay on track.
Right.
And I was going through I know the place real well, so I know what's here. I know how to lump my things, and I know how to get it out, because we was in and out in good time.
Yeah, we was.
Playing. But I heard a young lady talking to her mother, and it tickled me, but at the same time, it made me think, this is what we need to talk about today. Yeah. She said, I'm overstimulated. The girl couldn't have been, best guess, 13, 14. And I thought, first of all, when I was that age, I couldn't verbalize I'm overstimulated.
Right.
But I also don't remember when I was that age having that type of, a crowded store would not overstimulate me. Right. But it let me see it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is different right now. I think the onset of social media, the images that we see and what we think is right, and what back to your validation, that has changed over the years. Wow. You know what I'm saying? If we look back, like validation, I can see it. I'm a first grader.
Yeah.
Let me bring the cookies. I'm getting all the attention that day. But there could be some kids in the class that hated that day.
Right.
And it's like, here go my cookies.
They couldn't match.
Exactly.
They couldn't match what that person was doing. So part of it is you learn these socializations early about what can you do that gets you the most attention and get everybody to like you.
Correct. And for somebody else, it might not have been cookies.
No. And so I just think that was part of what we have to continue to address, is looking at that validation.
Yeah.
The next V I would look at is called vindication.
Ooh, that's a strong word.
I had to.
Vindication. You got to say more about that.
Well, I was saying it to a point where you reach a point where you stop trying to thrive to be like these other people. And you're now in your own zone, your own lane.
Okay.
And you're now moving to your own beat.
Okay.
You're now setting goals for yourself by not looking at other people.
Okay.
You're now attending events and networking because you're trying to move to a certain level yourself. But you feel vindicated because you're not rushing. You're setting the pace and tone for your maturation and for your advancement.
So I got that. So something. Let's see. Go
ahead. It said vindication. I just want to read it. It said proof to someone or something is right, reasonable, or justified.
So you move from, so you said, so that's good. So there's mental health. We're talking about the 3 V's.
That's right.
So moving from validation to vindication, because we talked about validation, maybe the emotional reward that somebody gets from an action of another.
That's right.
Or recognition from another.
That's right.
But then you can move from validation, looking for that validation, to vindication. Like, it don't really matter what you're thinking, because I am in a place where your validation or your approval is no longer a reward for me.
That's right.
That I have self-gratitude because I have these core values or these things I understand and I know, where I don't seek the validation.
That's right.
Oh, I can say that again.
That was good. That means no matter who the person that bring them nice cookies, I'm gonna bring what I bring.
Yes.
And I'm gonna feel good about it.
That's good.
It's not gonna be diminished, and I don't care who like it or don't like it. But it's about I did the task that was given to me.
Yeah.
And I got there.
Yeah.
The goal was to bring a snack, and I brought the snack.
Right. And I know y'all thinking, y'all oversimplifying this. So we're going to talk about some real world situations, right? Because when I talked about, let's go back to the young lady I saw in the store. She said she was overstimulated. And I couldn't at that time I heard her and it was comical to me. But then I thought about it. She meant it. She was serious about it. Her mom was like, we're going to get a few more things and then we're going to leave. But I thought about it. At that age.
Yeah.
Being in a crowd of people. Now, it is like, listen, you have got to navigate through this store.
Right.
This is a store, market. You got to have some patience. Some people didn't have patience.
Right.
But they come from all over and they want to get what they're going to get. Because for some people, Saturday is the only day that they can come.
Right.
But that market does the best, I believe, that they can in order to be prepared, have enough staff there. But it's just a lot of people,
right.
A lot of people. And so if it's the first time or you're coming and you're not really, if you're not used to socialization, like being around people, it can be overstimulating. Because I got to thinking about that because we're talking about messing with your mentals. We have to remember everybody's not built the same.
No.
Right?
That's right.
And so, for a lack of a better word, I see a generation of people that are, for a lack of a better word, they just seem their emotions are fragile, or certain situations make them extremely uncomfortable and they can't always give words to how they feel or feel safe doing that.
Oh, it's part of the COVID effect because you were locked in for that whole year and a half.
Yeah.
And you had to just interact with people on the phone or on Zoom or whatever. You had very little interaction, but in that year and a half, you started recognizing some things within yourself. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's over. You had to jump back out there.
We outside.
And so now you're back out there. A lot of things you used to be, like you said, wasn't overstimulated about by getting in crowds, connecting with people. So those things wouldn't even be thought about because you'd have kept, if this wouldn't have happened, we just kept going about our day.
But COVID didn't cause it. It just magnified it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Because...
And that may not be it.
Right.
I'm just saying,
I think for some people, COVID let them jump off the edge. Like if I want to jump off the edge and not be bothered, I could jump off the edge and not be bothered. And nobody would really think nothing of it. Right. Because I think some people were thinking about doing some things.
Right.
And they would never have done it if it wasn't for COVID.
That's right.
Like I'm probably not going to ever go this place again. And COVID allowed them to do that. And so now they don't have to go back because they can say it's COVID.
That's
right?
That's right.
So I think it magnified some of the things. And maybe it's a trigger because for that young lady, I think being in that space with all those people, many of them were chill, but
it gets the
some were unpleasant. They'd be too close. I believe in my 3 foot. When they say a 3 foot, you got 3 feet all around me.
But you ain't gonna have that there.
No, not on a Saturday. Forget it. And so they got cars, they got buggies, 2 people, they got kids. People want to taste and sample. Like you got groups of people in there. You got people that's like us. We know it's Saturday. We know we got to be calm. We know we got to have a list and get in and out.
That's right.
Then you got people that they love it. They love all the people. They want to sample the bread and sniff the berries and all of this and that. They don't care about the people.
They there because they got their own mission. They focus and that's
Then they're
valid. They vindicated
that don't have no choice but to come in that moment. They being dragged like this young lady, and she was like, "This is too much for me." And you can see that. So no judgment, but I think it just something in me was like, "Wow."
In this subject.
Yeah, like I don't know what that's like. You know what I'm saying? But I think in a lot of communities, like you don't deal with your mental health, or you hear more people are on anxiety medicine than ever before.
Right.
It never occurred to me that sometimes when you just need a moment, that's some people regular daily thing. Yes. You know what I mean? But and what that person utilizing it is starting younger and younger. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because when we're talking about mental health and what we're dealing with, being in this the second quarter of the year, the 4th month, we've been through a lot, in these last 115 days, and I know people need to check in and talk about and see where they are. That's why Dr. T and I wanted to talk about mental health and how people could be messing with your mentals.
Right. And that's a good point. People mess with your mentals.
Right.
Because I was looking back, I was talking to somebody just about a situation I was in, and I saw how somebody had just made it their business that they were going to target me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it was for nothing but a comment that I made that because of where they were in their life, they felt like I didn't have a right to aspire to something high. Let's just say.
Yeah.
They asked me a general question. I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this, this, and that. Now I knew it was a 5 to 7 year at the time goal, but they asked me what my goal was.
Right.
I didn't even process through it. You probably don't need to tell them the whole thing. And I just like, this is my goal.
Right.
That person couldn't let it go. It's like, I don't see you there. Or you're not there. Like, you ain't good enough, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, first of all, you asked me. Second of all, I am, and I will attain it. Watch me. You know what I'm saying? But that thing bothered the other person. I'm thinking, you asked me.
Right.
You
gave my honest assessment.
Yes. And I'm going to get it.
They were looking for you to say, I don't know. And,
yes. Because they didn't know.
Right. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Whoa. Crazy.
Wow.
That's good. So you went from validation to vindication. What's the third?
The third V, I would say, is after you recognize those 2 V's and you're moving forward and thriving, that's victory.
Ooh. Come on, Kamish. That's his speech. Victory. I don't try to steal it. Victory, I love it. Come on, victory.
So you reach a point that your validation, you're vindicated, and now you're at the point where I'm moving in the direction of my goals, my objectives, the things that I want to do in life. I'm not just looking, seeing, and speaking. I'm feeling it upstairs mentally about where my direction in life and where I want to go. Yeah. And so all you see is victory. You may see roadblocks, you may see people in the way and all that. But when you focus on where you're going, victory is yours. And that's what we wanted to share with that victory. Man, once you can see it, any negatives that start coming to your mind, you start seeing yourself above that.
Oh my goodness.
You start seeing yourself moving in another direction, moving forward. Yeah. And that's what I like about myself. I'll get caught up in something that may happen negatively, but then I start seeing the other side of where I'm going to be really. And that's the victory part. And so as you set your goals, as you be life and moving forward and the things you have to do, you got to make sure mentally you're seeing the victory. Nobody don't get caught up in all the stuff around you, because what you hear, what you may speak out your mouth, what you may be seeing with your eyes may not be victorious, but you got to have it up here.
Yeah. I think you didn't just get to them 3 V's. You got specific examples that you can share. I think it's amazing, because you just said one thing that's really powerful. You don't always see the victory, but you came to a point in your life where you begin to see the victory when it's negative. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have more negative thoughts that come through our minds than positive. Yeah. And so you have to be intentional about what you're thinking about. Yes, absolutely. Be intentional about what you're thinking about. But that was so good. You recognize at some point in your life, I can cast this negative thought down. Like, I'm going to replace this negative thought with where I want to be, or seeing the victory.
That's right.
That's good.
Right. That's right. Good. So that's part of what we want to tell you as Real Life Johnson, the family, is that the victory is ours. Stick with your goals. Stick with your objectives. Keep following the path. Yes, you're going to have all these distractions, but you have to mentally understand that you're going to win. Yes. You're going to have victory, because that's the way that's the way you keep moving forward, and what you have to do. And your mental health is so important, because what you see, what you hear people saying about you will throw you off. It would cause you to just withdraw, have a setback, and not move forward, because the negative stuff is always coming in here. But what you have to do is re-register to a victorious mindset. And that's why, it's constant. You got to keep going. I know I have to battle. But man, when you look at the reality of the situation, you look at all this stuff behind you. Right. You say, man, that wasn't nothing but it was just your mind, things just playing with you. But victory is guaranteed, because you looked at, what you got in front of you, so much powerful. And you've done it. You've done a lot of the leg work. You've done a lot of the homework, and you're staying in motion. Right. That's so key, Dr. T.
It is key, because looking back, I can just see the V's. It's almost like a progression. right? You go from validation, because we all, at some point in time, we have
we
sought
always
validation.
It's just because you want that, you crave that,
right? And
but sometimes you can go overboard. That becomes the opinion of others. Becomes that's your opinion, and their opinions overshadow any of your dreams and aspirations and goals. And then you, every time they say something, if it doesn't agree with them and they don't move on it, you feel bad. You got to move away from that.
And then vindication. Yes. It's like, you recognize the need for validation from whatever source that wasn't aligned with who you are. It didn't matter.
Yes.
That because I know who I am.
That's right.
I'm vindicated in this because I don't need your validation. And because I understand this vindication, I'm now victorious, because now I can take that negative thought or that negative pattern and I can see victory, and now I see the results. So
that's right.
You know,
that's it. I knew you can break it
practically in all of this, y'all like tell us how you did it. And I could tell you, from the situation with an individual had asked me that question, it didn't occur. This is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we mature in life, right? We say life be lifing, but there's a maturation. Well, there should be a natural progression in life, right? That we should be moving through life, in levels and arriving there in stages, right? Life.
That's right.
Doesn't necessarily mean everybody is maturing at the same pace.
Right.
Some of us take a little bit longer to learn lessons, right? So looking back, I can see how growing up, there was a need for validation.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Because of whatever things I felt that I needed in my youth, I didn't have. I sought validation.
Right.
More so in the church than anywhere. Right. And so, speaking about that, you go in there and you may not recognize that that's what you're looking for. You're looking for it in another person, but you really have to find it in God, if that's that's who or what you believe in.
Some people find it in the church. Some people find it in the bottle.
Yes,
people
true.
Find it
in different ways. So that's just an example.
Multiple relationships.
Yes,
so
whatever it is
that
you can identify with. But I'm just saying, you look for validation, and you recognize at some point that it's unhealthy. Right. And sometimes some of us learn it sooner than others. Right. And then some of us learn it in some areas, but don't apply it to all areas.
That's right.
Right. Because you could be delivered from food, but then still over here looking for validation on a job or somewhere else. But then at some point in time, when you mature, then you go to vindication, because it doesn't matter what you think. Now, I'm not going to be disrespectful.
Right.
But for my own well-being, your opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion is not the stamp of approval for me.
Right.
But we don't give voice to that always. We don't have the space to always, because information comes at us fast and furious, and life comes at us fast and furious. Sometimes we don't take time to process.
That's right.
So that we can go from what's the first one? Validation.
That's right.
To vindication, to victory. But I encourage us to evaluate some areas in your life where you may still feel that need for approval, need for validation, to move from validation to vindication, to be like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If this is a core value, a core belief, then I support me, right?
That's right.
I'm going to win in this because I understand who I am, and therefore I go to victory. So those V's are powerful. Don't try to steal it. Give Commissioner credit.
No,
but those things were good because I can see it.
That's right.
Yeah. If you can see it, you can be it. And then he talked about the image. Ladies and gentlemen, imagery is such a powerful thing, right? I can look back and see how things have come up, and I was like, "There's just no way to see it." But I know in Scripture it talks about if you can imagine it, and the Lord talked about, it was in Scripture in the Old Testament where they were building the Tower of Babel, and they wanted to build a tower up into the heavens. And the Lord looked down, and they were like, we got to confuse their language, because if we don't confuse their language, whatever in their heart or they imagine to do it, they're going to accomplish it.
Right.
God didn't take that ability away from
imagination
away from us. He just confused their language so they couldn't speak to each other like that no more. But the power of imagery is still in you to use it to take you from level to level. And so that vindication and that victory is so key. You have to see yourself there. You have to give yourself permission to go through the stages, right?
Go through the
stages. We judge ourselves very harshly, right?
Yeah.
We talk about messing with mental health in society. We just started talking about mental health in the last 20 years. Like it was a stigma. It was like anything associated with mental health, bipolarism, schizophrenia, all those types of things. Those might be the extreme examples, but anxiety, for many, it's a real thing. Depression.
Yeah.
My goodness. There's layers to that.
Now you got so much education around them. You can get help, and people don't see that as a stigma like as much as it used to be.
And even if they do consider it a stigma, it don't matter, right? If you're in a place where you need help, then the person that's gonna judge you or feel they won't validate that it's a real need that you have, then you go somewhere else. And then for many people on your job, there is employee assistance program.
Right.
Most people never take advantage of anything around that. I am sure that most employers offer EAP. And a part of that EAP package is confidential counseling and assistance that you can take advantage of. Take advantage of it because somebody paying for it.
Right.
Anyway, you know what I mean? So, man, I'm looking at all my benefits anywhere. Let me see what I can take advantage of because that's what it is there for.
That's right. Even if you want to call it coaching.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it, get the help you need to help advance your goals, your agenda, and to make your mental health as strong as possible. It's an exercise. That's what the 3 V's are. It's about exercising your mental health to do a check-in point at each level to see where you are so you can move to the point of where you want to be.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And so I gave an example of the cookies. It could be any example.
Right.
Of a person that's looking for validation.
Right.
And then when you see that person getting it, you're comparing yourself, what I got to do to try to match that to get everybody else to like me in that same vein.
Right.
But it may not be. You may have to find something else to do. And if you're not, you do what you have to do and it's okay.
Yeah.
You're feeling good about yourself.
And there's only one you. There's no path. The commissioner and I's path to healthy mental health has not been the same.
No.
Right? And so I'm getting strength from hearing those 3 V's. Like you can reflect on that. But then there have been times in my life that I look back, there were mental health issues or challenges, or I felt anxious or just felt like, something wasn't quite right, but didn't have the words to give voice to it and kind of work through it. If I'd have sought a professional person that could align with what I was going through and my core values and supported me, that would have been amazing.
Yes.
But we don't think to offer help because in a lot of instances you feel judged or you feel like it's taboo or you don't want to invest in yourself.
It wasn't part of what your life's site,
Right. Because we're investing in what we want to invest in, but sometimes the things that we need to spend the money on, we don't want to do it.
Right.
But I challenge us to prioritize your mental health. Don't allow your mental to be messed with, and don't allow anybody to make you feel bad for seeking help. Seek the help because that's what it's there for. Support and assistance to help you come on the other side with the victory, like the commission.
We got it.
Earlier,
now you heard it. Messing with your mentals. We laid it out because you're a part of us. We're connected together, real life, family. And we want to be there every step of the way because we want to see everybody succeed as part of our universe or part of the group that we're part of because you all are special.
Right.
You represent some of the best people in the world. And that's what Dr. T and I are here for because we've lived it, we've been through it, and we're still going through certain things. But, man, we know that tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Yes, it's real life Johnson. We real life. Right? We're not perfect people. We're on our way on this journey. But it's like we're going to deal with real life issues. Like when I was like, oh, my God, we need to talk to people about that because the podcast, it helps us too, right? Yeah. We really did it for ourselves. Like we need a conversation, an outlet for us, people like us, where we are in life. You know what I mean? So
thank you.
It is for us. This is Real Life with the Commissioner and Dr. T, and we are here for you, family. Until next time, be well, be blessed. We are excited about what's to come, and we're going to bring a specialist back to talk about this in more detail. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the comments below, or you can email us at thereallifejohnsons@gmail.com.
See you soon.
Until next time.